evening, everyone. Good afternoon and early good morning, I think, in the UK as normal. It's Jordie Janes here from jordiejanes.com. jordiejanes.com.au. How are you all today? Yes, it has been a little bit of a crazy week for me this week, getting set up ready to go over to Adelaide, not this weekend, next weekend. Adelaide's got a big psychic expo that I travel to every year, and it's an amazing expo, so I can't wait for that. And also, I think it's also Mother's Day coming up, because it's Mother's Day here in Australia. I think it's also in America and England, and I think the only difference is Father's Day. So it'll be interesting to see who comes through today for us. So this week for me has been busy organising and getting ready for the expo, and also I did a couple of live feeds on my Facebook page, which was great too, catching up and meeting a lot of new people and a lot of new faces and hearing people as well. So it's interesting this week too, with Spirit coming through. They're coming through, and the way I read with Spirit, it's very much of bringing through the essence and how they are now, as well as even though just validations and giving you accurate information on how they've passed and things like that. We try not to dwell on that. I'm becoming more and more evolving with my mediumship, and I was actually listening to a beautiful friend online today, Colby Rebel. I think people may know her over there, and I was listening to her, and she had Mavis Patilla on today, and it was just amazing to listen to them and to know that mediumship and even life in general, it's ever evolving. So we as mediums never stop learning. We as humans, we as adults, children, parents, we never stop learning. And to learn of the awareness of your loved ones being around you is a really true gift to have, and I'm really humbled that I'm able to use this for myself and to give you a lovely audience and lovely people and souls messages from your loved ones and things like that. So it's been a really interesting week watching my readings and watching everyone evolving, and the healing element to readings is amazing as well. So yes, I'm looking forward to catching up and chatting to a couple of callers today. So just call in. I'm looking forward to having a bit of a chat and seeing who wants to pop in. I already feel like I've got a couple already behind me who a couple of spirits and a couple of loved ones, I should say, that are ready for a bit of a chat. So looking forward to who they belong to, and I can connect them with that lovely soul that comes through. So interesting, the awareness I was made aware of this morning to talk about a little bit is colours. Now, we in the Southern Hemisphere are going into winter, and it's interesting because in the last 2 days we've had Arctic blasts, what they call Arctic blasts in the weather thing, that we are getting very cold weather. We're getting snow in the mountains, and it's pretty early to get snow at this stage. So we're actually getting quite cold, and I don't think we've gone past 8 degrees Celsius over here in the last 2 days. So we've been trying to rug up and everything. That's why I've got my scarf on, and I've got layers upon layers underneath. So we're trying not to use the heater too much, because now I'm home using things that I need to, I'm becoming more mindful of things around the house, which is quite interesting for me, because I normally just turn everything off and walk out the door. But now it's like, okay, so if I'm not in that room or I'm not using the heater, I can turn that off and rug up and try and save energy. So yeah. It's really and it's really cold outside. It's raining. It has not stopped raining. And you know the classic stage of when you water your garden, you know it's going to rain, or if you wash your car, you know it's going to rain, and it literally did that day. So my garden and my veggies and my herbs are getting extra water. So, and while I'm on here as well, before I start going into the callers, I hope everyone has a lovely Mother's Day this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to spending time with my family, and I already know what presents I'm getting, so I don't know if it's a hint, but I did actually ask them for them. So I'm looking forward to sharing that next week. So I have Lisa from Rochester on the line, New York. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
Sorry, say that again.
I said sorry to hear about your dad.
Oh, that's all right. I don't think I wasn't talking about Dad, but thank you for that. I lost my father-in-law a couple of years ago, so thank you. So, Lisa, I suppose you've been listening all morning. Is that correct? Or afternoon, evening? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Morning over here. Oh, I'm so sorry. Confusing with the time frames. It's interesting. Now, Lisa, what I have got a gentleman who's stepping forward for you. So what I might do is I'll bring him through, and then I'll ask you if you've got some questions as well, because I know there's a few questions. I can hear that you've got about 2 questions that you want to answer around you at the moment, and it's just general, but I feel like there's confirmation around you as well. So bear with me for a second while I bring this gentleman through. Now, it's interesting because with this gentleman, I feel he got to a really ripe old age. He's saying 89, but I don't know if he was 89, but there's a reference to that age. I feel like he was in the late 80s when he passed. Now, I feel like it's a grandfather. I'm being drawn to mum's side of the family with him. And there's a Louis or an L name I want to bring through with him as well. But I just want to say the way he's coming through, he's got this spark about him. So even in throughout his years or throughout his life, he always had a happy smile, or he always had this beautiful happiness around him, even if it was coming out of, I feel like the way he was brought up, there was a lot of hardship, but he always smiled. I feel like he was one of the youngest children in his family as well. Whether or not there's 6 children, but I just want to make reference to 6 children as well. Does he resonate with you at all?
Not on my mom's side. That's not my grandpa. My grandpa was very mean. On my dad's side, yes.
Okay, thank you. Because when they say mum, and I automatically go to mum's side, so I do apologise for that. So mum is still here, yes?
My mum is passed.
Okay. So, all right, cool. See, my things are changing with my readings, so I just want to sort of confirm, because I'm getting mum as well. So whether or not mum's with him as well, but I just want to make reference to he's connecting with mum as well. So bear with me for a second. So does it make sense with you too that he's always got that happy spark, and he's always really... Oh, deja vu. Sorry. I just want to say he's got this beautiful sense of life and happiness and joy. So even in the hardships, he always had this smile. I also want to say I feel like he had a little bit of a hunch as well, not too much, but just a little bit. And I feel like he's wearing his pants, like I want to say the pants that he's wearing are like a little bit too loose for him, and I feel like they're like 3 sizes too big, and he always wore a belt, and it's like he's got no waist or anything, but that's just how I'm seeing him. So I don't know if that's later on in life, but he's just making me reference to that, because I want to make reference to you now. The fact that that's just validation, like evidence that he's here with me. But I want to make reference to the fact that he's now sitting straight up, and he's got more joy, and he loves watching you kids as well, going through life and knowing that little piece of his happiness is filtered through his family, because I feel that he was brought up in, like, I want to say hard times. I wouldn't say sort of a hard family. It's more hard times, like not having a lot. He
grew up as a farmer.
Okay, because I was going to say he's not. Oh, so that's why I could see, and he looks, oh, God. It makes sense now, because the way his pants are, I want to say that they're a bit greyish, and he reminds me of, oh my God, what is that show? It's not the Waltons. It's the show Beverly Hillbillies. The older gentleman. He reminds me of that, where he has like the. Thank you, Jethro. Thank you, Dave, my beautiful producer. But I just want to make reference to this gentleman, and he's just. everything, it's amazing when you've got all the abundance. And I feel like this is a message for you because you're not looking at what you have around you that keeps you. Yeah, Jed's the older one. Sorry. Thank you, Dave. So I just want to say he wants to come through with the fact that he's really happy about you guys bringing through the happiness and you looking at it. I do want to say, though, as he's coming through, the last 3 to 5 years for you have been a little bit topsy-turvy. Would that make sense?
More than that, but yes.
Yeah, because I know in the last 3 to 5 years it's been a real sort of, you can't see any way out in regards to just things. And I don't want to sort of put in a particular thing. I feel like it's more family and more your life and your family. I just feel like there's been a bit of hardship and he's wanting to make you aware that look at his happiness and look at his joy at things that they may not have had, but there's still the happiness there. And I do want to say, since it's probably in the last 6 months that you've actually turned things around for you in the way you think. And I just want to make reference to that because he's just bringing through this happiness for you and this joking and this joy. And he's so down to earth. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
And it's like I want to say that the hard times you can always joke about it because there's people less off. Or I know he, like you said, he worked on a farm, but I want to make reference to the fact that he still had everything he needed. He had his family, had a roof over his head, he was warm, he had he had food, and they tried to make the best out of everything that they had. So not living on scraps or anything, but having the best and making a meal out of nothing is the biggest thing I think he wants to give you as well. But in general for you, he's just giving me that you have started to change your life around. Things are starting to have a bit more momentum, that you're not so stuck or you're not so... I feel like you've been in cement for a while and you haven't been able to move. Does that make sense?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to say it's like a little bit stuck in the mud. But then again, he's also telling me that sometimes you can be a little bit stubborn too.
Who, my granddad?
Yeah, you can be stubborn.
Oh, yeah, me. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah. It's like I want to say that even though opportunities come up or there's a reference to you being able to move out of a really sort of it's not negative as such, but just really heavy situation, you sometimes worry about if you move out of that heavy situation that it might get worse rather than better. And it's just that way of thinking. There's a little bit of anxiety there of change for you. And it's interesting. I feel like this has been a thing that you've been working on for quite some time, about how change, sometimes when change happens, things just don't go right, or there's always something, it's like I want to say, not a positive thing when change happens for you. And you always worry that when you change, or things in your environment, whether or not it's work, family, relationships, when they they need to change or new beginnings, sometimes they don't pan out the way you think they do, or the way you want them to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're always stubborn about trying new things. So I feel like there's a little bit, yeah. I was going to say, it's been things that you've done lessons with for quite some time, and I feel like you're starting to move out of that. I do want to say you've really started to find a niche within your work. I want to make reference to, do you work at the moment?
Actually, I take care of my dad, which is his son, and he's stubborn as all heck. And I want to find out from him if he's got any suggestions on how to deal with him.
The biggest thing is smile. He's sort of having a bit of a giggle because I feel like your dad's the only one out of his children that are as stubborn and a little bit, like there's not anger, but there's a little bit of not like happiness compared to him, if that makes sense. I feel like he's the one that has more of the temper, more of the stubbornness, and he laughs because I feel like you get that from him as well. But it's just the way to move. Oh, okay. So are your dad... Okay, so I want to say getting him out and trying new things. Now, was he musical? Who's the one, the music, the piano?
Nobody that I know of.
Okay, because I want to say there's something about piano music, or like it's old, like the old. I feel like it's the old jazz hall music, or there's a reference to the old jazz hall music. But I just want to make reference to bringing that music in to make him feel a little bit better, because I feel like music was a big part of your dad when he was younger, and I feel like singing as well.
Okay.
I do want to say your grandfather's around you, and I feel like he hears, like you hear him whistle. There's whistling around him as well.
Whistling? All right.
Yeah. So if you hear whistling, or you hear your dad whistling, there's a reference to your grandfather coming. He wants to make reference to when you hear your dad whistle a tune or something, there's a reference to your grandfather being around him. So
okay.
With your dad too, it's like also making sure that you do things for you as well, like hobbies and things like that. So getting yourself out of the house.
Hobbies?
No, you doing a hobby. You doing things for you.
Oh, I've been
That's
doing
really
lots
important.
of stuff.
Sorry, you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. So doing some hobbies and things for you to get out of the house, or doing things for you. I feel like do you work 2 to 3 days a week?
Yeah, I do. Taking care of him. And then I do like a side business that I do myself.
Okay, cool. It's like I want to say, finding time for you to reignite that passion. I feel that's where it's going to start bringing a lightness to you. But I want to say the lessons that you've learned over the last 3 to 5 years, you're not going to, it's not that merry-go-round anymore. So may I leave that with you?
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question quickly?
Just let him know I love him.
Well, he already hears that. He hears that. And I do want to say, when you hear the whistling, or if your dad whistles, you know your grandfather's around.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, darling. Thank you so much for calling in. Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Jenny from Scottsboro, how are you? Hello, Jenny.
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good. Oh my God, I love your accent. Sorry. I love accents from all over the world. I love them.
Thank you.
Okay, so, all right, cool. Now I've got about 9 minutes, 8 minutes to go. So let's see what I can do for you. Now, I know I've got a lady here who would like to step forward, but I'm also hearing the fact that you've got a couple of questions. Did you just want just general sort of information, or did you want to connect with someone?
I wanted to connect with my mom and make sure she's okay.
Okay. Can I just say, I wonder if this is your mum, because I know I've got a lady with me, and I feel that she wasn't a very tall lady. Would that make sense? And I feel like she's a little bit stocky, but she's not big lady. I feel like she's stocky, and she's also making me feel like she's a bit busty as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it sounds like my mom. My mom's mom.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. And I also want to make reference to this lady too, she's either 76 or there's a reference around the mid-70s with her as well.
Yeah, that's
so would this be your
mama.
grandmother?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. She's gorgeous. Like, I want to say that even though she was a little bit, I feel like she bounces around the room. Like, she's bouncing and she's dancing and she's kicking up her heels. And I just want to make reference to the fact that now she's able to use her legs. So was she not, she wasn't very strong in strength in her legs. Would that make sense to you, Jenny?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, thank you.
She had a stroke.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, now I feel like she's bouncing around the room and she's got full capacity and she's like biggest smiles whatsoever. Okay, so as she's talking to me too, I feel like there's another lady with her as well. So did she pass before your mum? Does that make sense?
Yeah, my grandmother passed away before my mom. My mom passed away in last year.
Was your mum in her late 50s, early 60s? Would that make sense?
Yes, my mom was 58.
Okay, because I got 56. So with 56 with your mum, would that make reference to her health or the way things were happening around her was not a very good, like she's just really exaggerating 56. So would that make sense to you?
Yes, she went downhill.
Okay, cool. Well, I can tell you they are together, and I feel like your grandmother's gorgeous. I feel like she was there to help your mum transition. She's absolutely gorgeous, and I feel like she had her favorite outfit, her favorite flowers, her jewelry. She had everything prepared ready for your mum. I feel like this is where your grandmother is. She always had things well prepared. Whether or not the night before, she always had her outfit prepared. She was always organised. So would that make sense with your grandmother or your mum?
My grandmother was, yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I just want to say she had everything prepared ready for mum and she was ready for her, if that makes sense. Now, I do feel that you're also very gifted. I want to make reference to that you feel your loved ones around you, and you get to a point sometimes when you're around people as well that you can feel their loved ones, or you have that sense or that awareness. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Because I want to say, it's quite funny. I don't feel like it's just your mum and your grandmother. I feel like there's a couple of ladies together who are having a wow of a time over there. But I do want to say they come and visit family quite regularly. And it's interesting because I'm being told, and I feel like, thank you, your mum's coming through. Your mum's a little bit smaller in stature compared to your nana. Does that make sense? Or your grandmother?
Yes.
Yes, because I want to make reference to your mum's coming through and she's just saying, you know those funny thoughts that you get in your head? That's me. So, you know, when you're doing the dishes and all of a sudden you get this funny joke or you get this funny sense that I wasn't even thinking that, and then all of a sudden this thought pops in or this sentence pops in, or you may even hear her voice. I want to make reference to that's her being around you. So she's just giving you some messages. So be knowledgeable that you have got this. I want to make reference. Everyone has got this gift. There's some of us that are more in tune with it, or would like to enhance it a bit more, or just be more aware of it. And I do want to say your mum just wants to give you so much awareness that she's around you at this time. She also wants to make reference to, please make sure you make, who had the favourite chocolate cake? Because I want to make reference to a chocolate cake.
My older brother, Brent, he likes German.
Okay, because there's something about a chocolate cake that has to be made or has just been made, but I'm being reference to chocolate cake. And I also want to say I'm seeing raspberries and berries with this as well.
Yeah, it's my brother. He likes stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Because I just want to make reference to this. And I feel like this is going to be really important for you to do something like this, or do some sort of cooking in remembrance of your mum. Your mum, I also feel that when she, before she passed, she wasn't able to eat a lot, or there was reference to not eating her favourite food. I also want to say, I feel like she wasn't able to eat, or it's like she's getting, she didn't like having what she had to have before she passed. It's really bland and it doesn't have a lot of flavour. And it's like, I want to say,
yeah, she was on life support. We had to put her on a feeding tube.
Okay, thank you, because she reckons it was so bland. So even if she was sort of in and out, I want to make reference to the fact that she definitely has a say about Sorry. She's joking about it too because it is a sort of a phase of, it could have been something a little bit nicer if it was a feeding tube. There could have been some spices or something in it, but unfortunately, I feel like she always loved flavour, if that makes sense.
Yeah, she always loves having season in her food.
Yeah, and I just want to say that's definitely coming in with the family. But please just, she knows that you're going to acknowledge her on Sunday, but also can you please make sure that you don't dwell on the time that she was in hospital and dwell on the time of the happiness and the jokes and everything. But I just want to say that she's around you and she adores you. And you have children. She just loves being around your children as well.
Yeah, my twins.
Yeah, I was going to say you had 2. But, yeah, I've only got a couple of minutes left. But, Lisa, can I please leave that with you? She's absolutely gorgeous. I've got 60 seconds. Please, if you want to contact me on my Facebook page. Jenny, sorry, Jenny. I do apologise. I'm looking through everything. Please contact me on my Facebook page if you'd like to continue. I can definitely give you more information, but she's definitely around you and she wants to give you big kisses and big hugs. And your nan, and they are just cackling themselves. They are having so much fun over there, like they used to over here. And I feel like they're always close and always around you. So may I leave that with you, Jenny?
Thank you so much.
Not a problem, darling. Enjoy your night, and make sure you get a decent sleep.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Thanks, everyone. I will talk to you all next week. You can contact me on jordiejames.com.au. Have a lovely week and a great Mother's Day.